Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
In the lush highlands of Ethiopia, where ancient monasteries perch like sentinels above the clouds and parchment scrolls whisper secrets passed down through millennia, lies a body of religious literature that has long captivated the imagination of theologians, historians, and mystics alike. The Ethiopian apocalyptic tradition, vivid, solemn, and deeply allegorical, presents a view of the afterlife that is both chilling and revelatory. Unlike Western notions shaped primarily by Dante's Inferno or medieval Catholic imagery, Ethiopia's vision of hell is intricately interwoven with Judaic mysticism, early Christian Gnostic texts, indigenous cosmology, and the fiery warnings of Old Testament prophets. Within these ancient manuscripts, particularly those associated with the Kebra Nagast, the Ascension of Isaiah, the Book of Enoch, and the lesser-known Apocalypse of Baruch, the concept of hell is not reduced to a singular domain. Rather, it is divided into numerous spheres, each possessing its own name, purpose, and torment, 10 distinct and haunting manifestations of divine justice. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, one of the oldest Christian traditions on earth, inherited and preserved a canon that differs significantly from that of the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches. This canon includes apocryphal and pseudepigraphal works that were excluded or forgotten by Western Christianity. Central among these is the Book of Enoch, a text considered heretical elsewhere, but held sacred in Ethiopian tradition. In this book, attributed to the antediluvian patriarch Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, heavenly journeys and visions unveil realms of torment reserved for the fallen angels, sinners, and transgressors of divine law. The hellscapes described are not only metaphorical, they are geographic, fiery, icy, suffocating, or maddeningly silent. These realms were given names that echoed with eschatological power and symbolic meaning. One such name is Sheol, a term inherited from Hebrew scripture, but in Ethiopian literature, Sheol becomes more than a grave or pit. It evolves into a spiritual waiting chamber, a liminal abyss where the unrighteous await judgment. Unlike its Hebrew origins where Sheol could house both the righteous and the wicked, in Ethiopian texts, it becomes increasingly associated with gloom, sorrow, and forgetfulness. Another name that emerges is Gehenna, derived from the Valley of Hinnom in Jerusalem, a historical site of child sacrifice and pagan worship. In Ethiopian apocalyptic interpretation, Gehenna transforms into a furnace of living flames, a place where souls cry out for mercy or are consumed over and over in agonizing purification. But Gehenna and Sheol are only the beginning. The Ethiopian texts reveal realms such as Tsilil, the shadow place, a metaphorical sphere where the soul is divorced from divine light and tormented by blindness of the spirit. Abaddon appears too, a realm of ruin and destruction that gnaws at the bones of the arrogant, the unrepentant, and the deceivers. Abaddon, often identified as a fallen angel or demonic king in other traditions, becomes in Ethiopian cosmology both a place and a being, the very personification of annihilation. Another terrifying domain is Sheol, the place of lamentation, described in various Guizi manuscripts as a chamber where souls endlessly wail with tongues of flame, their own cries rebounding like thunder to deepen their suffering. Then comes Raqote, a term found especially in later Ethiopian commentaries and homilies. Raqote is not merely a pit, it is a celestial prison that suffocates the soul with its very silence. The torment here is not physical fire, but the absence of God's presence, the unbearable isolation from grace. The Book of Enoch also introduces Eretz Taktit, the lower earth, a cavernous world beneath creation itself where the watchers, those angels who rebelled with lust and pride, are bound in chains of darkness. In the Ethiopian imagination, these imprisoned angels became wardens of suffering, their own punishment twisted into an endless echo chamber for the sins of mankind. Another domain, Raqote, is rarely mentioned outside of Ethiopian esoterica. This name, whose linguistic origins may link to dividing fire or purging flame, refers to a plane where divine fire peels away the soul's outer layers, revealing its raw essence for judgment. Here, truth is not simply judged, It is extracted through cosmic pain. This is not a place for the wicked alone, but also for the hypocrite who cloaked himself in righteousness yet harbored secret rebellion. The name Tahara emerges in the mysteries of the heavens and earth, the Guizi manuscript describing the day of reckoning. Tahara is the lake of black boiling water, a place for betrayers, blasphemers, and covenant breakers, where the liquid seems to be both acid and ink, erasing identity as it scalds. Finally, we encounter Sehafe Nebreyat, translated loosely as the Tomb of the Rebels. This final station is believed to exist outside of time, outside of space. It is a place for the greatest of transgressors, not those who merely sinned, but those who consciously sought to destroy the divine order. These include the builders of Babel, the corrupters of sacred law, and the dark sorcerers who turned spiritual wisdom into chains of enslavement. This realm is described in the apocalyptic homilies of Saint Tekel Haymanot and the lost chronicles of the sun and moon, where the fallen are chained not to fire, but to stars that sear with eternal starlight, each beam exposing the memory of their crimes. What is haunting about these Ethiopian hellscapes is not merely their horror, but their deeply moral architecture. Each realm corresponds to a different kind of sin. Each punishment mirrors a distortion of divine truth. Fire burns liars, ice grips the slothful, shadows consume the proud. In this theology, hell is not merely a destination. It is the crystallization of the soul's inward state. These names of hell are not meant to be read as mere superstition or medieval horror tales. They are didactic, metaphysical maps, warning signs etched into the sacred scrolls to remind the living of their responsibilities. Ethiopian monks preserve these names across generations, reciting them in the dim glow of oil lamps within mountain churches carved from living stone. The chants echoed in catacombs and desert hermitages, shaping the moral consciousness of one of the oldest Christian civilizations. Unlike Western depictions of hell as chaos and madness, the Ethiopian view sees divine justice as ordered, layered, precise, each sin met with its corresponding mirror in the netherworld. These names are whispered not just in fear, but in reverence as part of a cosmology where righteousness matters, where the soul's journey is perilous, and where nothing escapes the eye of the Almighty.